Welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith here with Espo, Saul, and Gerald. Gentlemen, you liking Vegas so far?
We just had the most Vegas start to the show. 2 seconds before we go, oh, that's not right, from the mustache behind the back. We're in full Vegas mode right now.
This last hour has been very, very intense for whatever reason, and I feel like everybody just
sassy.
Everybody
today.
needs to just jump their ass in the pool and get it over with.
Gerald, you good?
I'm fine.
Gerald's like, I'm just not going to say
Like, I just really don't
anything.
want to be here right now.
I'm not going to say anything.
I need
Keep
a
my
morning
mouth
beer or
shut.
something.
Well, thankfully, you were in the right place for that,
I have a
Gerald.
morning beer.
There
Thanks
you
to
go.
our friends at Four Peaks.
Heyo.
Isn't that a seltzer?
Look at this light citrus ale. Wow.
This
that's
is a
pretty
really
sexy.
cool can.
It's really cool.
very vintage.
It's like
vibes.
almost like a White Claw, but sexier.
Yeah.
Have you drank it yet?
I have.
Is it a beer or is it a seltzer?
But our friend from DMVR, I was going to let you drink it.
That's all right.
Adam Mares has probably drank like 15 of these.
Is it a beer or a seltzer?
It's a beer.
Okay.
It's a beer. It's a lighter beer.
It says it's 90 calories.
I know, 95
Wait,
because I
what?
need to lose some weight.
Wait, we're letting him get in on our beer stash? Didn't we force them to bring their own from Denver?
We
Apparently
are
not.
sharing.
All right. We'll
Espo.
share the beer.
We share Four Peaks with everyone, with you guys, with DMVR, with CHGO. If you want to pick up some Four Peaks, head on over and do that. Just make sure you're 21 or older and enjoy responsibly. All right, gentlemen.
Man, this
I'm
is
getting-
tasty.
I'm getting breaking news. Even though our producer can't talk to us through my headset and I'm acting, but I'm getting breaking news.
Okay.
The move we've been waiting for happened. A Sun Center is now in Atlanta.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Signed an offer sheet, which was about the max that he could get.
Uh-huh.
Frank Kaminsky is on a veteran minimum to the Atlanta Hawks. No, Frank!
Shut down the Cove, baby. It's official.
Lindsay's face, she's so mad about that.
My dreams are dead.
I mean, I am a little bummed. Like,
Oh, I meant his intro. His
Oh.
segue.
no, I was bummed about Frank. I would have loved to have Frank back for another season
Oh, yeah.
and actually see him play.
I think we're all bummed about Frank. He was, as soon as he was cut, the vibes kind of changed in the Suns locker room a little bit. They
They
were
did.
immaculate with him, and they weren't the same ever since he left.
I mean,
Like
depending
Joe
on
lumped
who they...
everybody into, we're all a little bummed.
Hey,
I'm just saying, depending on
Shut
who
your mouth,
you ask,
Bookman.
When have I ever been bummed about Frank Kaminsky not being on the team?
you should be bummed about Frank Kaminsky not being on.
Breaking, U of A guy is not upset. that Frank
I've never
Kaminsky's
been
gone.
upset.
I'm going on a Dragon Bender tonight in Vegas. I'm going to forget this.
But
Hey, there he is.
Oh, no.
all right, well, shall we get into the
Let's go.
The dad
real
jokes
show.
travel, gentlemen.
Heyo. So according to our friend Brian Windhorst, who has been very busy over the last handful of weeks, today, right now, the Suns are not offering 4 picks for Kevin Durant. Are you surprised at this?
No. Listen, the Nets have tried to one up the entire league and say, hey, we want everybody, including your past greats in this trade, right? And it's just not going to happen. KD's 34, and yes, he's a generational scorer. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. I get that. But at the same time, like, whatever team is trading for KD can't sacrifice so many assets that basically you're just swapping one player for 4 and you still are in the same position you were before. It's about improving your team to some degree. So I'm okay with this. I just feel like this is all leveraging.
Give them all their picks. Give them Indiana's picks. Give them all my ex-girlfriends. Give them Alvin Adams. Give them Charles Barkley.
I thought you didn't have any
It was only like
ex-girlfriends.
one ex-girlfriend, dude.
Sorry, Espo.
Oh,
Sorry.
one of them.
You set
I did
yourself
wake
up
up
for failure
real
on that one.
spicy today.
Give
Sorry,
all my
sorry,
ex-girlfriends. Hi, Sarah.
I didn't say they were high value.
Sorry.
I didn't say they
Guys.
were high value in the trade.
He's already hurting today. Let him have that.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm going to give him Lindsay without any return. I don't even need
no.
cash considerations at this point. Brooklyn, you can have her. Call me up.
What's a Brooklyn thing? PHNX. What are you doing for Brooklyn?
Oh.
BKNL.
BKNL?
I did that wrong. Whatever they had the
BKLN?
Yes,
I don't know.
they had-
BKLN.
There you go.
BKLN.
That sounds fun. I could do that.
No, we're not giving you a show. You're just
No.
going there to do something else.
Okay. So this is
Just
not
a way
an
for
actual
me.
You're
train.
gonna spin a cardboard sign out
Yeah, I
there to
don't
point
know.
everybody to the arena.
Whatever. Yeah, you're the new small forward for the Brooklyn Nets.
go.
Enjoy it.
I'm going to win a chip.
Look, but anyways, I would give at this point, yes, they're negotiating against themselves, I think, if they up their offer. So I understand that they haven't gone to 4 picks yet because it sounds like nobody's come anywhere near Brooklyn's demands. But at the end of the day, where you're sitting, you have to make a move for KD if it's there for you. Because, and we'll talk about it shortly, all signs point to Deandre Ayton isn't going to be back. So this is your path to get better. Free agency's dried up for the most part, and there's no other big fish that you're trading for. I think we're at a point where it's KD or bust.
This feels like another Nets attempt at leverage again. Like,
Agreed.
the Suns definitely aren't offering 4 first-round picks. Like,
Will
up your
somebody else
offers.
do it?
Yeah, it's very transparent at this point what's happening, and and if they're not offering 4 first-round picks, then James Jones is playing the long game because he still has a level that he can increase it to when these talks continue to go nowhere.
Which hopefully that is what's actually happening, right? Like if you throw out 4 picks and maybe you hold a player back, then you can say, okay, maybe this gives me leverage to hang on to Mikal and add in an additional pick or a couple swaps in there as well.
Right.
And maybe that's enough to get the deal done because everything we've put together has the maximum amount of picks, the maximum amount of swaps, and really solid players. And if the Suns are actually offering that to Brooklyn and they're saying no, then it's almost like, okay, maybe you need to lower your expectations over there.
Look, it's a Vegas type situation here, right? You pull up to the poker table, and you got the guy that you can tell is kind of a novice at the table that isn't very good at bluffing. That's the Nets right now. Then you got the guy that's got the sunglasses on. He's got the bracelet from the World Series of Poker, and he ain't blinking. That's James Jones right now. Like I feel like the Nets are trying to throw out anything they can to get leverage from either the Suns or any other team that's interested in KD, and James isn't biting on it at this moment. At some point, there will come a moment where the Nets are going to say, this is what we actually need to get this done. And James Jones is going to have to decide, is that a bridge too far or bridges too far, depending on how you take it.
But
This guy,
That's
Dad
two.
jokes definitely
Two.
traveled.
two in the first 5 minutes.
Hey.
Holy crap!
Going for a summer league record, all right? I'm Archie Goodwin. I've just got packed a stat sheet on summer league games.
Because it is Kevin Durant, like we're talking about here, and he's a phenomenal player, but also you have to take into consideration all the other aspects, right? Like his age and all those things and your future as a team and where you see that kind of going, because you can't, as much as James Jones is in win now mode, he can't ignore the next 5 or 6 years either. You have to take that into consideration at least a little bit.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say that, knowing that he doesn't value the draft at all. So sacrificing those picks, I feel like in his estimation, doesn't mean that much to him compared to other GMs. But at the same time, like that's how you go through a decade of tragic play, and we've seen that before. And the reason we've seen it before is completely different. We just missed on a lot of picks, but he just doesn't value them. So does it really matter if we give up 4? Shit, if it doesn't matter if we give up 10, in his estimation, it might not.
Could this be James Jones's blind spot though? Because think about the teams he was on, right? He was with LeBron. What did they do when it became problematic that those draft picks weren't there and that you couldn't reload a team? They just moved on to the next one, right? So they go from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland when the situation is better. Could it just be a blind spot that he has because the situations he's been in, those teams were built a particular way, and you weren't looking 5 years down the line. You were looking 1 or 2 years, and before the going got bad, they got out.
Yeah, but they also won titles before they got out.
I get that. But that's the question here. If you win 1 or 2 titles and then you have 5 or 6 bad years because you've done that, is it worth it?
1,000,000%.
Yeah. But that's the problem. I think some people are not looking at it that way because they're just like, well, it's the Suns. What, are we really going to win one of the next two? We need the future because we've been so trained to look for the damn future here, but the present is the best opportunity.
I think if the Suns team as it sits right now, if you brought everybody from last year's Suns back, and I know some guys are already gone, but let's just play this game. If you brought that same team back, I think they're a 50 to 55 win team because I think the West has gotten significantly better since the end of the season. So what you're saying to me is that team good enough to win a championship as is? I think they're close, but they're still missing a key piece or two. So what you're hoping for is by switching over and getting rid of some key assets and probably Cam, Mikal, and DA and getting KD, are they a significantly better team than they were the year before?
Yes.
That's a lot of holes to fill, though.
I think regular season, no. Playoffs, you have a higher ceiling if you have a big three of Book, CP3, and KD.
I don't give a shit if you win 44 games next year, sneak into that play-in, and then you run the table in the playoffs. Win the damn title. We've been good here before. We've been borderline great in Phoenix before, but they've never been the best team. They have never finished the job, and that's all I care about. Get there. I don't care what you look like 3, 4, 5 years down the line. I care what you look like next year. If you believe your window's open, kick it fucking in right now and win the damn thing.
To me, it's going to just depend on who surrounds those three, because it's really 2.5. Let's be real. Like CP3 is kind of a half in this measure because he's going to give you a good fourth quarter, hopefully. That's what everybody's banking on. And the first 3 quarters, he's just pacing himself, right? So KD and Book have basically got to carry the whole load. And can they do that an entire season? KD, obviously has been injury prone as well. He's not been, escaped from that. So do you really believe that in the playoffs, those 3 can carry you to a title when you have to go up against, let's just say, a Clippers team with Kawhi, PG, and some other pieces that they have, or the Warriors, and their depth. You know what I mean? Like, those are the teams. Hell, and I know I hate to say this, but let's just say, for shits and giggles, the Lakers did get Kyrie, and they got on from Westbrook. They got some good pieces, too, if AD was magically healthy for the playoffs. So everybody's gotten significantly better. Does KD coming into the fold not create other holes to where you can't match up with those guys in the playoffs?
I think it depends on how much you give up.
Yeah.
If they keep Mikal, I will say this.
If they keep Mikal, that's fantastic.
They're the favorites.
Right.
They're the favorites if they keep Mikal.
But if
they
you
don't
get rid of
Mikal,
DA, Cam, and Mikal, depending on who you get back or who you can find to plug those holes in,
it's tough.
You have to keep Cam or Mikal. One of the two.
I think so, too. I think you have to keep Mikal. I really do, because you don't really need Cam and his outside shooting if you have KD. Mikal can do a little bit. He's the slasher. He can do a few other things. He's building his mid-range game. He's getting better and better. So you're hoping that he takes that next step because he doesn't have as much pressure on him as he has the last 2 seasons to be maybe that 3rd or 4th scorer like he did. Now that's alleviated. You have 3 bona fide scores plus Mikal. I think that gives you enough to get a championship, provided that you can even find somebody, that could just be serviceable down low. It doesn't even have to be an amazing player like a Clint Capella type or whatever, like just serviceable, where you're at least a threat down low to block a shot or 2 or something.
Kevin Durant would become the best player, most talented player in franchise history.
Yes.
The second he got here.
Yes.
Yeah. He's still a top 5 talent in the NBA.
Yes.
I don't care if you put the 4 of us as a bench unit with that team. Their chances are better to win a championship than if they stay where they're
right now. If all 4 of us were on that team, we wouldn't win more than 15 games all season.
I mean, I feel like that's high.
Yeah, if we won a single game, that would be phenomenal.
But that's what
I didn't say we're going to play major minutes.
15 games.
We need 14.
Those 3 guys would have to play 3-on-5 basically the entire game.
We went through a season where they barely scratched 19 just a few years ago. Y'all think we could get 15?
I mean, Saul won Pig yesterday.
Hold on.
I did win Pig yesterday.
I'm not saying we'd play major minutes. We'd be the 11th through 15th people on the roster.
Okay, and all I'm saying
I'm not going
is
up against Ish Wainwright in practice.
If there were
No,
4
I'm not
roster
taking those
spots
blows
available
at
and we
all.
filled them, that'd be rough.
I'd say this:
God.
I could get 1 rebound.
I could just
against
imagine like
Wainwright.
Lindsey passing me the ball, and I'm
What?
like,
I could get
What?
one. I could get 1 rebound against Ish Wainwright.
No, you
Bullshit.
can't.
Yes, I could.
No, you can't.
Yes, I could.
Not even a little
Did you
bit.
throw it off the backboard to
No,
yourself?
Did you sweep his leg?
I didn't say how I was going to get it. I just said I could.
There's no way.
Oh my God.
So anyway, back to Kevin Durant.
You're that guy. You're that guy that thinks that they can compete with somebody like in the NBA.
hold
You're
on.
both that guy.
Hold on.
No,
You are that guy too.
I 1,000,000% have never said that I could go out there and ball with NBA players.
I am not-
Never.
I am not
Ever.
Sean
Sure.
DePaul.
No.
I am not
Back
Sean
in my day, I
DePaul.
could hold my own, but not right now. I'm not stupid.
I didn't say-
I'm 42 years old. I got 2 bum-ass knees, and I'm overweight. There's no fucking way.
I didn't say I could play. I said I could get a rebound. That's different. I'm not making a basket. I'm not doing it. I could get one
Ish
rebound.
Wainwright would put you through a wall boxing you out. What are you talking about? All right.
So
Kill my Vegas confidence.
the other report that came out around Kevin Durant and what was being offered or what was being asked for comes from Crispy Haynes and Vince Goodwill. They reported the Brooklyn Nets asked the Minnesota Timberwolves for Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and 4 draft picks in exchange for Kevin Durant. The Timberwolves declined respectfully.
It's ridiculous.
Cocaine
This
is a hell
is
of a
so
drug.
transparent that like the Nets are trying to reestablish leverage. Like this is ridiculous. And yeah, of course the Timberwolves would decline something like that. They're not going to give up their 2 franchise stars for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant plus 5 first-round picks or 4.
Ugh.
Like that's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Like I see all these different reports and it's very evident what the Nets are trying to do. And I get it. Like any good GM would try to do the same, salvage a situation that's now out of your control. But it's like really funny the reports we're getting.
I've been sitting in here, I've been off the show for the last 4 or 5 days. I put out something about our big 3, or not the big 3, but the 3 Cam, DA, and McHale, and then 5 picks. And Brooklyn Nets fans were really in my mentions talking about this dude's high, he's stupid, there's no way, that's a low ball offer for even the Nets and for KD. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, seriously, I even had Chad Johnson Jr. try to call me out on social. That's why he goes to
That's
ASU. He's
funny.
not educated. Okay?
Wow.
Understand
Wow.
when you come.
U of A grad. Okay.
Okay.
It's come on.
No.
Come
No,
on.
no,
I'm not
come
coming on anywhere. No.
He said
it's
no,
true.
absolutely
No.
not.
You think that that's not? You think the Suns should give up more then?
No, I'm saying
We're talking about
I'm
ASU U of A.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the ASU.
Oh
team.
no,
No.
Well, I'm saying if you're agreeing with him, then you're agreeing with that.
Oh, no,
so.
no.
No,
No.
just the slander for people going to ASU.
See, it just backs up my point.
Listen, I'm just really damn tired, okay?
Espo, why do you always sell me out when I talk U of A ASU?
I have a wife that went to ASU.
I
I'd
don't
like to
give a
be able to
shit.
go home
Where did
and have
you
my
go?
shit not on the lawn.
Where did you go? Oh
I
my gosh!
I did
Always
a
selling
3-year
me out, man.
I did a 3-year stint in Tucson and I got out. That's what I
You
did.
didn't go to jail, you dick.
Anyway, go back to the original thought process.
Uh-huh.
There's no
your
way.
Twitter.
Anthony Edwards is a phenomenal talent. Like, he's going to be a top 10 player in this league. You don't give that up for Kevin Durant at 34. You just don't.
Look, Brooklyn's a place where they will pay $3,000 to $4,000 a month for an 800 square foot apartment, right? They overvalue things. They're overvaluing KD right now and what they're asking for.
Is that 3? Does that count as 3?
That's not a dad joke. That's
I mean,
it's
pretty
just
close.
facts.
I feel like it counts.
That's
Yeah.
facts. You
That's
guys-
Judges,
3.
Shane.
says the man wearing New Balance sneakers.
Oh.
Anyway, look. Okay.
Everybody woke up so
Look,
spicy in
I
Vegas
know,
today.
man.
We
Did
did.
you guys go to
I
a
just-
Bloody Mary bar or
No,
some shit before I
No,
woke
I've
up?
slept 3.5 hours. Because
Yeah,
I,
because
See how
Gerald
the
was
time
like,
gets shorter and shorter
It
every time he
does.
talks about his sleep?
I slept negative 3 hours last night. I am suffering here. No, look, at some point, this is just Sean Marks trying to salvage his job there. He's made bad deals. He's trying to overinflate the price here because he knows it's his ass on the line. So of course he's going to do this. I don't hold it against him, but it's very, very obvious what's going on here.
You want a visual representation of what's going on in Brooklyn?
oh boy, I'm
Do you
so
wanna-
excited for this.
Every time I see these reports, this is what I think of. It's over, Brooklyn. I have the high ground. And then we got Sean Mark. Okay, what are we doing here?
Okay.
I didn't even get to finish reading it, Shane.
Can you put that other one back up that I gave you?
Unbelievable.
Nerds!
Wow.
I heard that
Let
as Jerry.
Gerald have his moment, you guys.
This is how I know they woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Don't say
woke
they.
up
I didn't have anything to do with it.
I didn't either, technically.
Espo just woke up spicy today.
I woke up in the same room as Shane Diefenbach. That was enough, all right?
Well, now I don't even want to finish it. It's done. It's over.
Oh.
You ruined it. Now I'm spicy today. I'm pissed off.
You've done it, Espo. You pissed off
You made
Gerald.
me angry.
Congratulations.
Victory!
Do you feel good about yourself?
No.
All right, we're going to start this one over.
No, we're not. We're moving on.
But nobody who's listening to this
Listen,
on audio will have
It was a
any
Nobody-
clue
Star
what's
Wars
going
meme
on.
that I made and was proud of, and now it's ruined.
Nobody
That's what
comes
you
in between
missed.
Gerald and his Star Wars memes. Nobody.
Here,
No.
I'll read it.
No, you won't.
Star Wars,
let's go.
nerd. All right, continue.
Man.
Anyway, if you'd like to see the tweet, it's on Gerald's Twitter account, at Gerald Bourget. If you are a Star Wars fan, it is pretty clever. Okay, let's move right on along. Deandre Ayton. We've talked about DA quite a bit. We're not really sure what's going on. On Wednesday, Gambo said that he believes we are close to a resolution on Deandre and maybe even by tomorrow, meaning yesterday, Thursday. Indiana has the cap space, and I've heard rumblings of them signing him to an offer sheet. I've also heard Toronto has some interest, but I don't know to what level. So obviously we didn't hear anything yesterday as far as the Indiana offer sheet situation goes. But there's a good possibility some things will go down this weekend. Everyone's kind of congregated here in Vegas. Players are coming in, they're coming out. Sometimes not even to be seen, but to just meet with people. How do you guys kind of feel about this situation with DA?
I don't think there's anything there, to be honest with you. I don't think DA wants to go to Indiana.
You keep saying
Because if he did, he would have signed the offer sheet already.
they haven't offered it to him.
Well,
They can't because
I don't
don't have the cap space to do it till the 9th.
I
Based on
also
things going
feel
on.
like, this is part of DA understanding what the situation is, and it could put him in a better situation. Listen, Brooklyn's a better place to live than Indiana.
Brooklyn
period.
doesn't want.
But
him.
if Brooklyn,
That's fine. But maybe there's another Atlanta. We've heard other rumblings. San Antonio.
Atlanta
Any
has their
city
center now.
besides
They've got Frank.
Indiana would be better.
Did you say Atlanta has their center now because they have Frank? Damn it,
Yes,
Espo.
they're good.
Look, I'm interested to see what happens tomorrow because that's when the Brogdon trade becomes official. That's when the Pacers officially have the cap space to offer him an offer sheet. So I don't know. We'll see. This could throw a wrench in the plans. It doesn't completely kill a Kevin Durant trade, but it really makes it more difficult because DA's outgoing salary, you would need him to be going to a third team to make it work, to get a third team involved and send more assets to Brooklyn. Because if they don't like what the Suns are offering, that's tough. And if you want to keep McHale, there's no way you're doing that if you're making a Kevin Durant trade and DA signs that offer sheet. Like
If DA signs the offer sheet, does that basically kill the KD trade? I
No, not entirely.
I know not completely, but
it really hurts it in terms of your ability to keep McHale in any KD trade. Like that dream is pretty much dead at that point.
so if you're the Suns, you're gonna have to match it, right?
Well, if you match it, you can't trade DA till December. But if you don't match it, you let him go for nothing, which is worse. So I think
If you're the Suns, you
match it.
have to match it
Yeah.
and just sit on him until you're able to actually move him and hope that
does that
something is
prevent-
available.
Does that prevent the Suns from being able to get KD even if they match it?
Like money-wise, you're
Yes.
saying?
No, you can still make a deal, but to
That's
Gerald's
best case
point,
scenario then,
it's
in my
McHale.
mind.
No, at this point, if DA goes to the point of signing the offer sheet and not even giving an opportunity for a sign and trade, at that point, I'm out
You're out on what?
on DA. Because at that point, he said, I'm not even going to take the step to try to help you guys to go to a place I want. I'm telling you, F you, I've signed this. I'm not even giving you the option to discuss a sign and trade.
Or in his mind, he's like, I'm giving you guys a week and a half to try and figure this out, and you didn't. So I'm going to sign my offer sheet and move on with my life
So I say, have fun in Indiana.
with no assets coming back in
I say-
return.
I say, have fun in Indiana. I'm calling your bluff.
And then if you don't, get KD, you are completely, absolutely effed.
We're already at that point where if
You
you,
gotta-
don't get KD, you're effed.
What's the safe move? The safe move is to match the offer sheet. You can't let your number one pick just walk out the door for nothing in return.
You made that decision as a possibility last summer when you didn't make a move to
but
get
that
him.
but that
you still
doesn't-
can't do it.
But that would be
That's
an
just bad
all-time like
business sense.
asset management, really bad decision making. Because if you let him walk for nothing, you're not freeing up like cap space. You're already
you're
over
not.
the cap, so you can't go out and re-sign a free agent with that money that you're not spending on him. that would make no sense to me. You have to match if someone gives him an offer sheet.
I'm getting to the point where I'm convinced there is no plan B. That plan A is Kevin Durant, and there is no plan B at this point for what they're doing.
Dude, I will say this right now. If that were to happen, everybody in that front office would lose their job in the next year or two.
I don't know.
And the reputation of this franchise would absolutely go way past what we even know it to be right now.
And yet it wouldn't even make it in probably the top 5 or 10 worst things that have happened in the last decade around this franchise. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they make that kind of move.
If that happened, this franchise would
Yeah,
absolutely go back to the mediocre days of old. Is exactly where you would be. Chris Paul, Devin Booker included. It wouldn't matter.
I'm really concerned at this point that they're so focused on the KD thing that there is no other plan. There is no other path. That it's get these 3 guys, and that's how we win. We heard the mentality is win now, win a championship now.
Right.
He went out of his way to make that very clear in those comments in that article, and I feel like the tunnel vision is KD is that path to a title.
Well, yeah, but like if you have a chance to trade for KD and KD says he wants to come here, what other choice do you have? Like, you can't just like, oh well, maybe we can get
Thanks
KD
for wanting to come,
but we should really address our mid-level before these guys get eaten up. Like, they are putting all their eggs in this basket, but it's the best basket that's out there. Like,
you know what's so
I'm
funny?
not arguing.
You know what's so funny
Right.
is that being here in this house with the DNVR guys and the CHGO guys, and Gerald and I kind of heard this a little bit yesterday. Everybody kept asking, why do you guys hate DA? Why do you guys hate DA? And I'm like, we don't. I just half the fan base doesn't like him and the other half does. Some people see the
but
value.
we
some
already
people
know
don't.
the answer to that.
And they're just so baffled by it because they see a solid player and a top 5 or 10 center in this league. I don't feel like this conversation alone. Like, you're going to let that guy just walk out the door with nothing in return?
You're not. You're absolutely not.
I know.
And honestly, like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but honestly, if you genuinely think the Suns are just going to let him walk, I feel like you need to take a walk. You need to take a walk and breathe and really work through your thoughts because there's no way in hell. There's no way.
I said that if DA simply outright signs an offer sheet from a team, at that point, I feel like that's the nuclear option from him. That's him saying to the organization, fuck you.
He's got to take care of himself.
Right.
This isn't like, I'm going to look out for you,
Okay,
even though from day one you didn't want to give
I feel
me
like this
what
is
I want.
deja vu
So
again.
if you say,
He's got to take care. It's a
what's
business.
the difference? If the Pacers put that offer sheet in front of him and says, yeah, take a day or two and negotiate with the Suns on a sign and trade, and if they don't come up with anything, I'll sign it then. Like, what's the harm in it? I'm saying if he signs it the second they put it down in front of him, that's the nuclear option for him. Because he handcuffs the Suns at that point, and then they have to basically decide, do we sign him, keep a guy that doesn't want to be here and have to sit with him until, I believe it's January 15th. So say Jay, my lawyer in the chat, went through the CBA provisions, and I believe it's January 15th.
Did they move the date back?
I think it's December 15th, right? Or is it
No,
January?
I'm
It's usually
pretty sure.
December 15th.
Yeah. But anyways, you have to sit with him there until then, and at that point, if you were prepared to move on from him, and everything feels like they're really prepared to move on from him, right? Now you're just sitting there and having to go 2 months with a lame duck, 3 months with him. And then him knowing you didn't really want him, you knowing you really don't want him there. What good does that do?
As a franchise, you know what's up and coming. You know, like, the potential that is out there. Like James Jones this entire time has been trying to make moves and trying to get a deal done for KD this entire time. By the time, the finish line is there and DA's like, nothing's happening over here. Maybe I haven't heard anything. I've got an offer right here. I can't sit here and play make-believe with what the fuck you're trying to do as a franchise. I got to take care of my own money and sign that contract. And then if you match it, you match it. If you don't, you don't. Like, it's a business decision. James Jones knows that. And James Jones as a player knows that for sure. He understands you don't play with people's money. And if he doesn't want to offer him the max extension and somebody else does, he knows, okay, I have a deadline. I have, 24, 48 hours to match
48.
or let him walk out the door for free. There's no way James Jones has not prepared for this. If he walks out the door for free, that means that KD is absolutely coming. If KD doesn't come, James Jones is not going to be the GM of this franchise for another year.
And I think there's concern about, okay, if he signs an offer sheet and you max and bring him back, what's the chemistry going to be like, knowing that at their first opportunity they're probably going to try to trade him because maybe that relationship is broken. I say both parties have incentive to just stick it out for those 2 to 3 months until he's trade eligible and figure things out. Because for DA, if he signs an offer sheet and the Suns match, he can't be traded to that team for a year. So that takes one more future DA suitor off the board for the foreseeable future. And then he has incentive to play well because you look at his marketplace for this summer, it hasn't been great. There hasn't been a ton of interest in him.
What's his incentive,
so he has
though,
to
if
play
he signs
well.
a max? He's got the max contract for 4 years he was looking for. There's no incentive at that point.
Right, but
for
if
those
he
3
wants,
months.
but I'm saying if you're talking about if this relationship is broken and he wants out and he takes this nuclear option, like he really wants out, okay, you still have to play well. Otherwise, teams aren't going to trade for you on that contract one team signed you to.
You have such a thin margin for error with where CP3 is in his career. And if you believe that now's the window, you can't sacrifice 3 months in that. You can't. This team was predicated on chemistry for the most part.
But you can't let a top 5-10 talent at his position walk out for nothing. That's just terrible. That's terrible decision making.
It's bad business.
It's bad business.
It's bad business.
I would not be shocked if bad business goes down, is where I'm at this point, with the way all this is playing out and the way it has played out, the things we've heard.
Yeah, but I also I don't know. I don't see DA actually doing that. I just don't.
I feel like they're going to figure it out. They're going to get a KD trade that involves DA figured out, and this is going to be a needless conversation.
I am simply at the point where just get something done. I am sick of having the same damn conversation about the same hypotheticals that we've had to sit here and do. Something's going to move this weekend. DA or KD, something's going to break loose this weekend because too much is standing still in the market right now between DA and KD. Something's going to happen. Something's going to shake loose.
That's what you know what you need.
I can guarantee you what's not going to happen.
What?
I mean, OGs.
Espo needs some OGs.
He needs some OGs in the worst
Espo
way.
needs some OGs desperately
Bro.
right now.
My prediction.
And you need some
Miles,
indica, not sativa, like you said yesterday.
Yes, I meant
sativa gets you
indica.
hyped up.
I meant
Indica brings you down.
I'm saying this. Miles Turner will be
A Phoenix
part
Sun?
of the Phoenix Suns by the end of the weekend.
What about KD?
I don't think KD gets done yet, but I think by the end of the weekend.
Do you think KD
DA's
will at all?
I don't know yet. Probably, but by the end of the weekend, DA's in Indy. Miles Turner's here. That's my guess.
Okay. Well, we need to pull out the stash of OGs that we brought here with us.
Did you guys? Because I need
some 4 Peaks as well. Because you need to pop one of their limited edition seasonal flavors, the Pina Colada.
I fucked that up yesterday.
It's a perfect pineapple and creamy coconut blend. You do your best, Espo. We all do. That's really all we can do.
Jay in the chat said a snake draft would be crazy right now.
Check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. Okay, guys, let's pretend that we had just
look at that curbside service.
You're so kind.
Look at that.
He's like the Sean
There
of
you
this
go.
house.
Look at
Thank
that.
you.
I'm less nervous that all the DMV.
Look, now I'm going to be nice to you guys because I
Harrison
got a
with
good
the
little
clutch coat.
surprise.
Look at that.
Let's pretend that we all just took an OGs, right? And now we're just in this sometimes
Pretend.
well, for you guys. Sometimes when you take an edible or you're indulging in some THC items,
Where's this?
your brain just starts to go and wander, and you create these hypothetical universes and timelines and pathways and whatnot. So let's just say, because there's this tweet from Mike here, and he asked Espo, how did things go from we just need to upgrade the backup point guard situation to trade everything for Kevin Durant? So what were all of the little points in the timeline that got us to this point now?
There is no point for me. I've been on this train since day one. I created this train.
Oh, did
Let's
you?
be real.
Back
And the
up.
reason, you know the reason
Flex
why?
created this trade.
Flex put out that tweet, and from that moment, I've been on the KD train. And if we go back and look at the tape, you know this to be true. Espo just got on the train last week. Like, he just
There's no
learned
other
that there was a
options.
train.
There's no
you know
other
what I mean?
options.
He was so anti-KD that this was never going to happen. This was never going to come to fruition. And then look at us. Look at us right now. We're in this ball game.
Look at us.
It's
Who'da
beautiful.
thought?
It's
Who'da
that or I'm
thought?
tied to the
Who'da thought?
tracks. Like, there's no option.
So that's
here.
how I got from one point to another. I didn't give a shit about a backup point guard at that point. Once Flex hit that, I was like, it's either two names. It's either KD or LeBron. I felt like since Flex was in Brooklyn, it's probably KD. Boom.
Okay, so when you
I wanted you to be more creative with it, to be honest.
Well, I didn't have that diagram with the arrows and all that stuff.
I wanted you to just be like real crazy.
I don't go full conspiracy theory. I just go for direct. This is the conspiracy guy.
look.
So how did we get here, Espo?
So when you own a house you like, but from time to time you go look at model homes, right? You got a nice 1,800 square foot home. You got a nice little backyard. You got everything, but then you go look at the 3,500 square foot place. You know, it's nice. It's set up well. You realize, hey, I got enough money in the bank. It'll be tight, but I can make this work. Mm-hmm. And then you go back home to the 1,800 square foot house, and you're looking around, and you're like, well, this is tiny.
This sucks.
That's a little dingier than I remember it. I gotta go get that house. Yeah. Like I like that a lot more. That's KD. We all were happy. We were like, get a backup point guard. Fix around the edges. I think we could make another run. They won 64 games. We could still beat the Western Conference. We can do this.
I love that analogy. I think it's more apt if you said, like, I don't know, you had a fridge that was kind of starting to break down, so you started to look at new fridges, and then you went to that model home. You're like, oh shit. Instead of just replacing the fridge, which would be the backup point guard,
we could just replace the
whole
whole
fucking house. Let's go.
I love this.
Look, and that's kind of how I think we got here, because you go through the original.
Gerald, one day. Yeah.
I don't believe that Katie's really interested in the Suns. Is kind of where people started, and then they start to buy into the idea, and it starts to snowball. And now, and I said this 3 weeks ago, at some point you hit a point where, if you don't get Kevin Durant, everything else feels like a disappointment. Everything else feels like you wasted all this time and you didn't get enough to make something happen. Like, standing pat now even feels disappointing, because you've had this big dream of, we're getting Kevin Durant. We're getting a top 5 player in the NBA to play next to Devin Booker. And then you go, well, shit, that's not happening. Where are they now? And then you start to go, the confidence is gone. You go, well, maybe they're 5, 6, 7 seed in the West, depending on how it plays out.
Well, I'm not going that way at all.
Well, if you don't have DA,
if you don't have DA, but again, if they're not getting Kevin Durant, they're not getting rid of DA unless it's in a sign and trade that brings a center back. Like, I'd feel like people need to, if Kevin Durant doesn't work out, brace for the possibility that you're just running it back, and that's okay. Like, we were talking to our DNVR and CHGO people here yesterday, and they were asking, like, why is there so much panic going on? You guys, like, flamed out in the playoffs. Yes, but you guys won 64 games. You were the best team in the NBA all season long. Like, running it back with that group and getting improvements from Book, from McHale, from Cam Johnson, from DA wouldn't be the end of the world if you can mend those bridges. Obviously, KD is what you gun for. If you have a shot at getting a top 5 player who can be the best player on the court in a playoff series, you do that, because we saw what happens when it's just Book and CP3 in the playoffs last year and they didn't get the help they needed. But, like, if they run it back with that group, that's not the end of the world.
I think the thing is that because we haven't been here in such a long time, we are so afraid to let it go. Mm-hmm. And we're right there. We're on the doorstep, that it's also like, if we don't get to the finish line before this, whatever, how long this lasts, we're all going to be, like, completely devastated. And I think that's the biggest difference, right? Mm-hmm. When you've been there and you've done that for multiple years in a row, or you've had this great championship run, you don't feel as desperate, if you will, like we are. Because we're like, we just need one, right? We'll trade away any and everything just to get one.
I feel like it's a beer goggle situation We've had beer goggles on the last few years, and I'm concerned that we're waking up next to somebody next year that we don't recognize from the night before. All right,
I hate that analogy.
That's gross.
That we're like, wow, all right. Well, I'm just. This is what women experience with me in college, is what I'm trying to say. So, anyway, I got the groan. That's all I was looking for today. My job's done.
This man came in here just sowing chaos. Right.
I mean, but there is something to that logic, though. Like, I do feel like there's maybe there's a little bit of paranoia out there that, like, we haven't seen some of these teams at full strength. How good are we in comparison? Yeah. Is this real? Like, is this sustainable? The 64 wins kind of almost enhanced that paranoia because of how we flopped in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I do see where you're coming from with that mindset. At the same time, I'm like, you do have to trust what you built. Yeah. And I think that the Suns have built a very, very good team. A team that can win a championship, who knows? But if you have an opportunity to get a generational talent, if you don't have to give up the entire roster outside of Devin Booker, then I say, okay, maybe that gets you a little bit closer. And the biggest difference between KD and the three guys, and let's just say we did lose DA, Mikal, and Cam, is that in the playoffs, like you guys have said, we have seen Kevin Durant just go on some insane heaters, unlike we've ever seen. Hell, he damn near beat the Milwaukee Bucks by himself, just the year that the Suns played him in the finals. So maybe that's the difference. But you're hoping that nothing gets in the way of that, like injury or age. So it's a gamble. But it's a gamble I think a lot of people are willing to take.
You know what also I think is a factor in this is that we don't hear other markets or a lot of national media talking about how it would be okay if the Suns ran it back, and how there's always some excuse for the success that this team has had over the last 2.5 years. It's like, oh, well, that year didn't count. Everyone was hurt, all these injuries. Y'all just lucked your way into this. Well, look at what happened in the playoffs. You guys were frauds in the regular season. And as much as we don't want to believe that, I think there's something to be said about if you hear it enough, you're going to start questioning things. Like that. I think that's a natural human response. And we need to learn to maybe block that out a little bit more and just stay within our people and our community sometimes.
NBA imposter syndrome.
Yeah. And I get that. Yeah. I can understand how that could have a huge impact on our thought process around this team.
Yeah, absolutely. That last year was the first, obviously losing the finals is disappointing, but going into the season, no one expected them to be there, and they were there, and it was a great season. Then last year, they took their playoff licks. They got experience in that regard. A lot of champions have had to go through that experience of playing a team, losing to teams that you should beat, losing to better teams. They got a little taste of that last year, and I think they'll be better for it if they do wind up bringing it back. Obviously, you go for KD if you can, but I do think this team will be better for what they learned last year. The problem with running it back is all these free agents are now gone, and your ability to improve on the margins, improve the bench, that's where you take a hurt.
This is where, if Kevin Durant truly wants to be a Phoenix Sun, he has the leverage. And I don't give a shit what people think about the Nets. People can say, oh, well, the Nets don't have to do this. They don't have to. Okay, yeah, but you also don't want a disgruntled star playing for you, because we've seen that a million times. James Harden did the same thing. DA's on a whole nother level. Don't look at me like that. It's not even the same ballpark. DA isn't trying to force his way out of Phoenix via trade and has 4 years left on his deal. So it's not the same thing.
I knew that.
Okay. And so with KD, he has the leverage into forcing his way out of Brooklyn. And he also has the leverage in terms of what said team is going to give up what. Like, KD can literally sit out until the right deal is made for the team that he wants to go to, so that way the nest isn't completely empty and he can play with it. So
we've talked about a DA nuclear option. Like, KD has the ultimate nuclear option. We're one Shams tweet.
He just needs to tweet already. Let's get this over.
If we get one report, KD is not going to show up to training camp, that's it. The Nets have no leverage. They have to make a deal. Like, it's over at that point. So we're literally one report away from that.
Tweet.
Nuclear
We've
option.
seen it too many times with too many players. It's a player league, and people can sit there and be like, "Oh, the players don't have the leverage." What the fuck? Have you been watching the NBA for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They have all the leverage.
I'm just sick of all this. Get the DA thing
You're
done.
impatient.
And it's not impatient. It's just
It's only
how
day
many
8.
times,
It's only been a
how
week.
many
He
times?
has anxiety.
How many
I know.
times do we talk about
OGs.
this shit? I like
My guy Eric just came
over.
through with the OGs, so we're good.
Heyo.
over and over.
All right. Well, that's all of that. We're gonna move on because I feel like it's making us feel really sad, and I don't like that. That's my job, to be mean and make you sad. It's not cool if you're sad because of things you have no control over.
It's still the Frank thing.
That's really what it
That's
is.
really what it is.
Oh.
I'm on a warpath because of Frank.
Gotcha. Well, we are here in Vegas for Summer League, and we're gonna go watch the Suns play this afternoon or this evening, I guess. Right, Suns in air quotes. If you guys, so we had this conversation around the house earlier today on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Who are you going to put your money on to win the championship?
Oh, I got the Pistons.
You got the Pistons?
I
Okay.
love the Pistons right now. Dude, they are a fun team to watch.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not betting on it, but I would go with probably the Thunder. That would be my pick.
Give me the Frankenstein roster of the Phoenix Suns. No picks in
Heyo.
2 years. Nobody that's actually any future with the team.
I mean, they
But
are
this-
older players too. They might be a little more mature.
Sure.
This
Yeah.
A little
ragtag-
more ready to plug and play.
This ragtag bunch of G Leaguers and European players, including my man Ish Wainwright. It's time to go out there and win a ship for this team.
I'm taking the Kings because
The Kangs.
they deserve something.
No, they don't.
Their fan base.
They don't.
Their
Why
fan
the fuck do
base-
they deserve anything?
Because they live in Sacramento. Thank you.
They
very
chose
much.
to live in Sacramento.
No.
People don't choose where they live, so
They moved from Kansas City to Sacramento on purpose.
People said that about
team
us,
did.
Saul. People literally said that about us a handful of years ago.
they
So
still say we don't deserve any.
But we were born in Phoenix. We didn't leave a better city.
whatever, regardless of the situation, I want the Kings to have some nice things, and they never get it during the actual NBA season. So at least they can have something nice at Summer League. That's all I'm saying. If you guys want to get in on the action, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code PHNX. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
And by the way, my prediction off to a great start. The Lakers are favored by 6 tonight
Oh.
against the Suns. So
Are they?
0-1 on the way.
Well, there you go. Gerald, do you want to give us kind of a brief rundown overview of some of the main players on this Sun squad?
Yeah, obviously no Ife Lundberg. We've been hearing he's going back to Denmark, and it's most likely because the Suns were not going to offer him a contract. So that's kind of a bummer because he was one of the main two guys that a lot of people will know from the roster. Then there's Ish Wainwright, who's pretty much the biggest guy for us to watch. Steve Scalzi, who is the Summer League coach, and he's an assistant coach with the Suns, said that Ish wanted to do Summer League and get some extra game experience. So I kind of thought that was cool. And he emphasized, his positionlessness, the way he's kind of been a Swiss Army knife for them in mini camp. And you see the pictures, and he's kind of like taking guys under his wing. He's got like his arm around teammates and like pointing to stuff on the court. Maybe just posing, but like it'd be cool to see that side of Ish because he's a guy who had to work his way up from a two-way to just make the roster. Scalzi said there's no one more resilient on the Suns' entire roster than Ish Wainwright. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what he's able to do with this team. And then we've got McKinley Wright IV. He's a 23-year-old point guard, 4-year player from Colorado. He's the school's all-time leader in assists there. He's a little bit short, but he's got a good wingspan for his size. He played like 5 games for the Timberwolves, but he averaged like 19 and 8 for the Iowa Wolves in the G League when he played there. And he's got a lot of family in Phoenix, so he said he's familiar with the area. His teammate Josh Okogie just signed here, so that would be kind of a cool story if he was able to work his way into one of those two-way contracts. And then we've got Vrenz Blyenberg. Blyenberg, excuse me.
Blyenberg.
And he is a 21-year-old Belgian. He's 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan, and he's kind of like a very tall point guard. So keep an eye on his shooting and his playmaking because those are going to be the skills that if he can translate those, maybe he's a two-way guy as well.
He's the one that referred to himself as like a point forward, correct?
Yes.
Which, I mean, I'm interested to see him play this weekend.
This is Plan B, the Kevin Durant.
Stop
it, right?
Stop it.
Oh no!
Right? No, I'm actually excited to see him play, though. He's one of those guys that I think a summer league like this could have a very big impact on the trajectory of his career if he can impress the right people, even if it's not the Suns. So those are the fun stories in summer league where you see a guy like that potentially emerge and find himself on a roster.
McKinley Wright has got the DNA to play in the NBA. He's everywhere he's gone, people love him. Like he's a grinder. He's a very intelligent basketball player, and he's the definition of a point guard. So I'm kind of interested to see how well he can perform. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Aaron Holiday, but he's in the summer league system, so apparently he's going to grasp the concepts of this complex offense way more than Aaron Holiday.
He'll likely get minutes. That's a benefit. Right?
Still don't understand.
Too
this.
soon.
Oh,
Still
Still
too
don't understand
soon.
all this.
Anybody else?
Lewis King, he's 23 years old, 6'7" forward, and he was the Summer League Championship game MVP last year. I think he had 21 points and 5 steals or something like that.
Somebody in the chat asked, "Do they get rings this year if they win the summer league?"
No, I don't know.
No, you get
I
a
have no
T-shirt.
idea.
I think you get a championship.
Because if they got a ring, I want that.
No, they get
Of course you do.
They get a trophy and they get a
It's
shirt.
probably got like palm trees and shit on it.
I think they get a shirt that said "I did it in Vegas" or something.
Oh no!
Something like that. That's what you get for winning the summer league.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to cough. This is going to be terrible. Keep talking, Gerald.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I've got. This team has a lot of international experience. I think before they cut down the roster to the final 15 or whatever players it is, they had 15 different countries worth of playing experience. So that's kind of cool. We've got a bunch of different dudes from all different levels of basketball. So I am interested to see how Scalzi's able to put that into a coherent product, hopefully. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I think the first game is tonight at 7, correct?
Yep.
7:30,
Yeah.
I believe. We'll be out there.
7:30.
7.
7.
It's 7.
ESPN 2. I know it's on ESPN.
10 p.m. Eastern, which is 7.
Oh boy! Hope y'all are excited.
I will just be happy if there's no earthquake because the last time I was here,
Yeah,
I
that
came
was-
for one Suns game.
That was
There was
crazy.
an earthquake and I saw no Suns basketball. So
I will say though, like that was kind of as scary as it was. Afterwards, it was like, okay, that was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. At least I
Except-
could say I experienced an earthquake.
yeah, I
I don't know,
guess
it was kind of cool.
You have weird dreams.
my life is
I
fulfilled.
don't know that I would say it was a dream. It's just one of those
Or
things
goals
that, like,
or aspirations, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know that I wanted to experience it, but now that I have, and I'm not,
I've always
and I'm
wanted to
still
jump in a
alive.
volcano.
you know, I'm just saying. If you guys are traveling out here to Vegas for some summer league action, or really just doing anything this summer, we want to make sure you guys stay safe and healthy. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov/find-vaccine for a location near you. You guys ready to go watch some basketball?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Don't we have one more thing to show that really encapsulates the spirit of Vegas and why you come out here for summer league?
What's
Don't
you got up
worry.
your
What do you
sleeve
have up
here,
your sleeve
Espo?
there,
You guys have seen this. Let's roll the tape. It's Devin Booker in a bathtub in the middle of a club for some reason out here in Vegas. The only thing missing is like there's not $100 bills in the tub with him. I don't know. I saw that this morning and I have absolutely no clue what's going on in there. Which just means I have never been cool in my life,
Yeah.
and been in a club and like that. So.
I mean,
It's booking a tub in a club. What's not to like?
Booking a tub in a club.
this is what I was saying though the other day. Whatever show we did, like, was it Wednesday? Right? What's today? Friday?
Yes.
Today is Friday, Linz.
Wednesday.
Yes.
And you were asking the best thing about Vegas or the worst thing about Vegas, and I was saying, you can kind of just do weird whatever things. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yep.
why not be in a tub in a club if you're Devin Booker?
When you sign a Supermax, I'm pretty sure you can do whatever the hell you want. at that
Exactly.
Like, I totally get this. If I was at a club and there was just a random, like, clawfoot bathtub in the middle, I'm absolutely going to sit in it.
All right.
Are you?
Yes.
I feel like you would.
We're going to go buy
Yes.
a tub and bring it to a club, and I'm going to sit in it tonight.
That's a
Let's
dub.
go. It's a dub, baby. That's a dub.
Is that 4 now? Are we at 4?
How's that? That's not a dad joke.
That one
That's
was
just a
me.
That
dumb
was
joke.
Gerald.
That was me.
Okay.
That was Gerald.
Who's,
All right.
who's the number one person you want to meet at Summer League?
Michael Jordan still.
Dude, if I meet
It's
Michael
always
Jordan,
Michael
I will
Jordan.
cry. I will be that dumbass fool, and he will look at me like, dude, why is this dude crying?
Crying
I was
in the
like, 'cause
club
it's-
in the tub.
This is like my hero growing up. Like, oh my God.
You're going to be disappointed, I feel like, because you know how they say, like, don't meet your heroes? And we all already know Michael Jordan's an asshole.
Oh,
You're going to
I
be
know,
disappointed.
I know, but I might even say, well, fuck you too, MJ. But
You would
it'll
never
be
say
that.
that.
I would.
He-
No, I would.
he
If he
does
was a
have-
dick, I would.
He does have that famous quote, "Fuck them Sauls." So like,
That sounds weird.
Yes.
really
I,
weird.
I think for me, Bill Simmons, and I know it sounds dumb, but like,
Okay.
he was a guy that in my younger years I looked at and went, "Oh, I can be me and still do this," right? Because I was never going to fit in the big J journalism box. You know, it just wasn't going to be who I was, and that gave me like, wow, I can do that. Wow, I can start a podcast. Wow, I can, and I'd love to just sit down and pick his brain for 5 minutes. So I know that's a low bar for Summer League because there's basketball royalty, but that one would mean something to me.
I would actually, low key, I would love to run into Devin Booker.
Yeah.
I would just love to run into Devin. I've only met him like twice, like in person outside of a scrum, and both times he was mad cool. I would love to meet him at Summer League and see what Vegas Booker is all about because apparently it's off the hook.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have anybody off the top of my head that I'm like, I really want.
I'm surprised you didn't say,
People
I
want
would,
to
I would
meet
love
me
to.
in
I would
Summer
love to
I
meet
did
myself.
not. Listen, just let the record show. I did not say that. I did not even imply that.
We can see it in her eyes.
Y'all are just brat.
She did bring her 2 Emmys, which I thought was
That was very weird. I was like, why
Lord, that was
does she walk in with them out in front as she walked through the door? I don't
she
understand
has a
who does
giant
that.
gold chain for me to
She
go out
does.
tonight.
And it was
so.
the oddest thing.
See, this is why I ditch you guys.
She was here for like an hour and was like, bye.
Okay, bye. Just kidding. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll be back with a show tomorrow. We haven't quite figured out what time yet, but you can turn on notifications on our YouTube channel. You can turn on notifications on our Twitter account. And that way you make sure you're going to get the action tomorrow when it's live.
We have so much content that's planned as well. If you haven't followed the folks over at DMVR, we have some kind of behind the scenes cool stuff that we've been doing. We're going to be playing a lot of Olympics, as we say, some 3-on-3, some 3-point contests and what have you, stuff in the pool, I'm sure, and it's going to be a blast. So follow all our Twitter, our PHNX Suns Twitter account for all the content, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. So
It'll be a lot of fun. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Espo at Espo. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And you can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. Espo, take us
you
home.
can find us in the tub.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, the dad jokes are free, but Gerald's articles aren't. So go sign up at GoPHNX and support them.
Hey,
Ahoy,
yo.
PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G, no plan B. Always on the job, my team move like the mob. Turn the beat on, I throw it.